you run one of the biggest employment firms, not only in the U.S., but on the planet. Are companies really ready to hire substantially this year? Because we have to see it.
Right. Well, I was about to say yes when I was listening to your question until you said substantially. Companies are going to hire, but they're still going to be very careful because the fact is there's not enough demand for their products or services. But the companies we're talking to, not just in the U.S., but across the world, minus, of course, Asia, which is growing, they're saying they're going to hire. They're going to hire, and they're going to hire as many as they can, but it's in the context of their demand.
What are the sectors where we're going to see that growth, particularly in the U.S. and in Europe? We often don't talk about the unemployment crisis in Europe that in many ways is much worse than in the U.S.
Yeah, so what we've seen so far in 2010, particularly the latter, manufacturing actually grew quite a bit. Almost 60% of all of our growth came from manufacturing. We've now just started to see it turn, which is a good sign, into the office, administration. That's normally the second phase of the recovery. So as long as this has been going on, we are starting to see it be a little bit more classic than we have in the past.
So Jeff Immelt, the head of GE, just appointed by the president to run his council on jobs and competitiveness. And he is the one that says manufacturing in this country will bring us out and will create a lot of jobs. How do you see that playing out? Because the U.S. is nowhere near the manufacturing hub that it was.
Right. But there still is a large base of manufacturing. I think we forget about that. We have to make sure that we focus on value-added manufacturing. When we look at our clients, they're asking for more sophisticated talent, higher-level people, because they know that they need it.
Fabs,
good quality assurance engineers, manufacturing engineers that are trying to make the steel a little bit better. The whole kind of value add is where we need to go because that's where the jobs are and can be.
It's not manufacturing as we knew it. This is sophisticated manufacturing.
That's correct. Because if you go to kind of the simple manufacturing, you'll lose to the labor arbitrage.
Yeah, of course you're going to lose. The administration, I wonder, last year speaking here, you said, I hope they make the right call when it comes to the tactic they take for job creation. Look, the government can't do it all. They can't even do most of it right now. It has to come from the private sector. But do you think, Jeff, that the administration has taken the right path?
Well, last year at this time, they actually took a path of creating jobs through incentives. And I had the opportunity to go before the Joint Economic Committee and say, that's not going to create jobs. It's going to spread some dollars around. If you want to do that, that's fine. What's coming out now is businesses create jobs. Now, what can we do to unencumber businesses to create jobs? That's the path we're on.
What's the number one thing the administration could do? Is it about what the president addressed in the State of the Union, and that is cutting corporate tax rates without adding to the deficit?
I don't think it's one thing. Cutting tax rates, which we are now on a worldwide basis, highest tied with Japan, will make a difference. But it's also the awareness, the education, and free trade. We have to be able to trade on this global basis now.
The president talked about the importance of two-way trade with China, that tariffs are not the answer. He's also focused so much on this green revolution, focusing on this green revolution from wind turbines to solar panels. Fuel efficiency across the board. But I wonder if you think that realistically is going to create the volume of jobs that we need.
We know it won't, but it's the right thing to do.
So why talk about it so much?
It is a good topic to talk about. It brings some energy, but the fact is if you look at the number of jobs that will create over a long period of time, right on. But in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years where we actually need the jobs that are in place now, but more of them, it's not going to help us.
What about technology? How would you say overall the improvement in technology that is substantial year by year has affected the labor force, affected the job market?
I think it has affected it dramatically. When you look at what technology does, and you look at the enhanced technology spend now happening, not only in 10, but in 2011, it's all going towards efficiency and productivity, being able to do more with less. Between technology, globalization, and the pressures put on individuals, we absolutely, through the research, look at this being the human age. This is when the person breaks out and says, technology is interesting, but it's going to be my innovation that's going to save the company.
There are only so many people that really innovate in a substantial way. Companies have reported record profits this year. They don't need to hire to the levels they were at before. So what do we do with those people in between?
They have to be used differently. What we're seeing is different work models. You're not going to innovate in the classic sense. Look at what's happening in the large pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. They're taking their R&D expense and saying, I'm going to let the world innovate. I'm going to institutionalize it. It's a different model, and because we're in the middle of that change, it's affecting the labor market dramatically.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.